Hey Sam, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, Bill. How you doing, mate?
Not bad. Figured we'd fire up the old Shacknews live stream for Destiny 2 showcase.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Looks like we're starting in probably about 4 minutes, I reckon.
We are starting in about 4 minutes, and looks like everything's rolling so far. So we wanted to go live a couple minutes early for everyone watching, and just make sure that everything was good to go, so that once it starts, we can all focus on what matters the most, which is drops, of course. Yes, we have drops enabled for Destiny 2 on the Shacknews Twitch channel, so you can watch along and make sure that your Bungie account is linked to your Twitch account, and you can receive a fancy, I believe it's an emblem. It's usually an emblem, right?
Yeah, it's like a purple emblem. I think it's got
Okay.
like an eagle on it. I was literally just looking at it.
Yeah, that's it sounds like I like purple emblems myself. Of course, just purple emblems. No, I'm a loot goblin, and that's everything. It's emotes. It's like if I don't have it, I need it, and I will never use it necessarily, but I must have it. You know, you know me. You know what I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, to Giraffe, yeah, just 15 minutes, which is pretty good considering the last one you had to watch like an hour and then 3 hours across 3 different streams, and then sometimes like the time didn't carry forwards. I don't know, it was weird.
But there was one that they did where the amount of time you had to watch exceeded, I think, the stream. Like they had to leave the stream on for like an hour later.
That was the last one. That's what I was talking about. You had to watch like for an hour, and then the next one was 3 hours worth, but then the streams were only 45 minutes or something, or like.
There was 3 streams. Yeah, there was 3 streams, and I think they were just short, so they left the stream on. But
I literally didn't get that one. I didn't get it because it just wasn't enough.
I did. I definitely got it because I just left it on, right? Like, you know, for the extra hour or whatever. But that's good. It means that they see this and they make the adjustment, right? So if someone missed out this last time, then there's not much chance you'll miss out this time if you only have to watch for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's called an Ooh Shiny Emblem.
Ooh, Shiny Emblem. I like shiny things. I've been known to get excited when someone dangles keys in front of me.
Oh man, I gotta turn this down a little bit on my end. Blasting my ears.
Really? Okay. Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay, so. Hey, Bacon, how you going, mate?
Mr. Bacon is in the chat.
Yeah.
The famous Rise of Bacon. If you don't know who that is, I'm gonna let you figure it out. I think we're going here, aren't we? I think so. It feels like we're getting ready to go here.
Yeah. Is this gonna transition to another countdown, or are we gonna? Is it just
a countdown to a countdown?
It's gonna pop off.
I think it's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
The countdown to a countdown was very 2020.
Oh. Here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good morning, good evening, good time zone to you all, and welcome to a beautifully balmy day here in beautiful Bellevue, Washington, here at Bungie HQ. Didn't realize it would be that alliterative. Welcome to our stream that's going to go ahead and showcase a little bit of what's to come in Act 2 of Episode Echoes. But very briefly, before I go ahead and kick things off, the eagle-eyed guardians among you have probably noticed a little QR code down here in this general direction. If you go ahead and give it a scan, our friends over at the Bungie Foundation are going to be running a 7th Column Chaos Tournament, and you have a chance to get involved, help them raise some funds, and do some good. So if you go ahead and do yourself a favor, give that a scan, learn a little bit more about what they got, maybe give them a follow on Twitter while you're out there. They've got a lot of cool information that's on the way. But speaking of cool information on the way, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Today, we have the distinct opportunity to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the stuff that's going to be arriving with Act 2 of Episode Echoes. But worry not, as always, I'm joined by an all-star cast of guests here from the Bungie development team. I'll go ahead and dive right into it, starting with the individual right here to my left, the incomparable Allison Lures, narrative director here at Bungie. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing all right. Thank you for asking. No one ever asks me back.
More people should.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. For the uninitiated at home that may not have met you or are just kind of meeting you for the first time outside of the Vidoc potentially, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, my name is Allison Lures. I'm the narrative director for Destiny 2. It's my job to work with the team that creates our stories and characters. We're in charge of making you cry and feel things.
I have cried a lot in our game, so thank you.
You're welcome.
You and yours are doing some heavy lifting.
You're
Even
welcome.
my black and dead heart has gone ahead and had some feelings. So
Happy to be of service.
We appreciate it. And of course, sitting right next to Allison is the one and only Mr. Ryan Harris, Senior Activities Designer here at Bungie.
Thanks for the follow,
Ryan,
Casey.
welcome.
Hey.
For the folks that also may not have met you or have probably played your activities without realizing it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here?
Yeah, so my name is Ryan Harris. I'm a senior activity designer here at Bungie, and folks may know me from Season 20 Battlegrounds, 7th Inspire, and yeah, I work on the Vanguard seasonal team, making the activity content folks play day after day.
Excellent.
An activity developer means we might be getting an activity misa.
And of course, next to him, friend of the show.
Yeah,
if you tuned into the live streams, you've met him before a couple of times. The one and only senior design lead here at Bungie, the one and only Chris Proctor. Chris, welcome back.
They're doing a good job of keeping.
I am doing so good. Thank you. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah.
This is going great. For the folks that may not have had a chance to tune in to the previous streams, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie.
Yeah, folks might be familiar with my work on the weapons team. I was weapons feature lead for 4.5 years. I'm now the sandbox craft lead on Destiny, which means I help out the sandbox team with any issues they're facing and help uphold that critical sandbox quality bar.
Yeah, it's an exciting one to dive into, so thank you and yours for all of your hard work. Now, let's go ahead and get ready to go ahead and dive into some stuff about Act 2. But first things first, we've obviously been listening to the feedback of our fans, in particular, the kind of weekly rollout of all the different stuff that's happened through Episode 1. With Episode 2, you guys are looking to try something a little bit different, isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah, we've been listening to the fans and listening to feedback, and we agree it's time for a change. So we're going to do a trial of something new in Act 2. We're going to be dropping all 3 beats of the acts at once. So we'll be dropping all the 3 beats for Act 1 at the same time, all the 3 beats for Act 2 at the same time, all the same beats for Act 3. And the goal is to encourage players to play at their own pace, to get all of that content at once if that's what they're looking for, or to meter it out over whatever pace they want to play at.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, so we're going to give it a shot in Episode 2.
Excellent. That's right. Yeah.
See how it goes over.
Yes, definitely. And to that end, when episode 2, I did it too, rolls around, make sure and let us know what you guys think. But whether you're a Netflix-style binger like myself, or you want to go to the comic book store each week to go ahead and pick up the new issue, there's going to be a chance to dive in no matter how you want.
However you want to experience it, it's up for you. But make sure to read it. More about it is going to be in the Twid this week.
Excellent. Okay, make sure and tune in. We'll have plenty more information on the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at also what got us here today. So we're still in Episode 1, Echoes. Act 1 has kind of concluded its main story beats. For those at home that may not have had a chance to play through or may have some questions about the story.
Thanks for the follow.
Would you mind catching us up to what events got us here today?
Sure. We'll do the short version. Great news. The witness is dead. We did it.
We did it.
Yay. And the episodes are all about the consequences of where we killed the witness and how. So when we killed the witness, all of that darkness, all of that memory, all of that energy collided with the light of the traveler. And so all of the memories that were inside of the witness, which is not necessarily exclusively the precursor beings that are inside of it, collided with the light of the traveler and made matter out of those memories. We call those echoes, and one of them launched out towards Nessus, and so we followed it to try and investigate, see what this thing is. And when we got there, we managed to reunite with Failsafe, who you left. You abandoned her. She's okay with this because she's chill, just so you know.
Thank goodness. Thank you.
She's very happy to see us.
We're
happy to see her. So we've
I didn't
been
abandon her. I was on Nessus all the time.
And initially, things are pretty fun. What a fun, cool, lighthearted adventure. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Failsafe's around.
And the act ends with getting a little tease of like, oh wait, this isn't going to be a strictly lighthearted adventure. Saint gets kidnapped. More than kidnapped, kind of body controlled away from the rest of the group. And as he's taken away, this being called the Conductor is interrogating him and demanding to kind of understand whether or not you are real, like whether Saint is the real Saint or not. It's unnerving and kind of weird, and the vibes are only going to get darker from there.
Even better. Given that Saint has a rich history with effects, I'm sure everything's just going to go nice and peachy keen.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing bad. No, of course not.
So now that we've washed away that veneer of everything's going to go great, Act 2 now is arriving as well. Now, there's plenty of stuff for folks to dive into, but as we go ahead and kick things off here with Act 2, can you give us a little bit of a tease of what we're going to be checking out?
Yeah, what Saint heard when he was being kind of controlled really got to his head. We are going to be watching him wrestle with some questions that he's never asked himself before. And as we are trying to understand more about this Conductor that he has encountered, we are also going to be going back and revisiting one of Destiny's most storied locations very briefly.
So the lore hounds out there are going to have a chance to feast.
They're going to have a delicious time.
Excellent. Bife, you're welcome. I don't know if this will warrant another 10 hours, but we'll leave that up to you.
I got you, boo.
Perfect. Okay.
Dreadnought?
And now that gives us the structure for what we're about to dive into, but we have now the new activity that'll be arriving as well. We're going to go ahead. We have some gameplay here to go ahead and dive into the Echo Battlegrounds, the new 3-player activity. Ryan, do you mind kind of telling us a little bit about what we're going to be checking out here today?
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll be taking a look at one of the 3 battlegrounds that players will be engaging with this act. So the first battleground here starts in the Cistern, the Wall of Flames, on Nessus, of course. And players will be running through the Wall of Flames, checking out what's going on here as the Fallen have kind of like started hanging out and
I love how he
investigating the
frames
wealth
this as we're
themselves.
checking out what's going on, and it's really
So
just us killing
players really here
everything
like
we see,
seeing like
as per usual.
noticing that the radial area of this lake has been drained. A lot of the areas kind of like
Or don't even ask
revamped and like
Just
regenerated
investigate.
itself to something new.
Investigate with your
And
gun.
players will be looking at the story of like where is this radial area going? Where is it flowing through? So for Battleground 1, you're kind of like finding out and like locating where all this radial area is going to.
Yeah.
Battleground 2,
Giraffe,
you're
is that
seeing the actual flow and
stolen
direction
rocket
of all the
starter?
radial area to the center of Nessus. And Battleground 3, you're actually seeing like
They
where it's
just
being
talked
directed
about
to.
the story,
So
Phil.
it's really
that was it.
trying to tell that story
just
about
the
the journey
story
to the
that
center
you
of
would
Nessus.
see in Act 2 and a little
Yeah.
summary
So they all
of
kind
what
of have a way of
happened at the end
interconnecting
of
with each other as well.
the first
Also,
act
I mean,
as well.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Obviously,
Also,
the Vex have been our
I guess
primary
it's important to note
antagonists
as well.
through this.
So
but
two
the entrance here is being guarded by a pretty
will
heavy
have
contingent
the
of Fallen.
acts,
Who are these
all
Fallen
the
and what are they trying to do here?
beats will be available at once.
I can give
So
a
it's like
relatively
episode 2
boring answer, but I
launches.
believe Allison can give a
Episode
much
2 Act
better
1
one.
begins, and you
Thanks.
can smash through
Yeah,
all
the
Act
Fallen
1.
are here
Just
because
because
they're
you want,
after
you'd
the
have to
Echo
wait for the
too.
weekly cadence.
We want to think of these Echoes as kind of an arms race.
Yeah.
In the absence of the Witness, there's a giant power vacuum that has formed where there's no one in charge who's going to come out and take it on top.
Yeah.
So the Fallen are here. They're chasing down the Echo as well, and they're encountering the same thing that we are,
Greg,
in that the Vex
if
aren't
you can
really
hear
acting
us,
like the Vex
you might want to
normally
move
do
our
here.
cameras just because
We're
covering the
seeing
QR
some
code for the
Vex
Bungie
start to
Foundation.
act less like
Or
a
even just
collective
move
and more
Sam.
like individuals. There's one really fun lore tab where one of them waves at us.
Yeah.
So we're encountering mostly Vex, but yeah, also Fallen are here too.
It's cool to see the Vex undergo such a change. Like they've been more, I think you were saying like individualistic in kind of a
Yes.
weird way, which is like the one thing the Vex don't
Totally.
do. Yeah.
It's the one thing that they don't do,
Yeah.
which is why
That's
it's super weird that they're doing it here.
Yeah.
And yeah, in Act 2, we're going to be able to see a little bit more of why they're specifically doing that.
Very exciting. Awesome. Plenty to dive into, and also with these battlegrounds as well, Ryan. I know we were talking
That
about
is
this
a
before the
nifty
show,
looking sidearm.
but it seems like the main goal here was just for you guys to push yourselves,
Yeah, I'm
really
trying to
push the
see
boundaries of what battlegrounds
what
have been.
perks he's got
Can
on
you
it.
tell us a little bit about what you were trying to accomplish with this new set of battlegrounds in Act 2?
Yeah, so for this set of Battlegrounds, it's definitely our latest and greatest iteration of Battlegrounds. As folks know, Battlegrounds consist of 2 encounters and a final boss encounter. So throughout the years, we've
what
kind
are
of
the-
iterated on what a Battleground is and how closely it resembles a strike. And this set of Battlegrounds, I really wanted to push it to be like, what is a Battleground and what is a strike? I wanted to be almost one of the same. So with these Battlegrounds itself, I wanted players to, well, of course,
we know what
have
perks
enough
it rolls
enemies
with?
on screen to slay out at all times.
Yeah.
I'm sure
We're
Bacon
definitely pushing
knows.
the combatant counts in these battlegrounds as high as possible. In some ranges of 40
Shacknews,
enemies
Destiny
at
2
a time on
consultant
screen,
Bacon will find the perks.
which is quite a lot.
imminently.
But
Plenty for us to go ahead and check out.
plenty.
Yeah.
But that gives enough opportunity for everyone in the fire team to use all their abilities, use Prismatic to the fullest extent, and always use their super on cooldown or Prismatic on cooldown when the opportunity arises. I want players to feel like they can just do everything, and there's not just that one player soloing the entire
Right.
encounter. So everyone is contributing to that
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, I can imagine too, even with the the
Aberrant
expanded
action,
sandbox that's been
I think
brought
it's
to us
called.
with the new abilities by way of Prismatic, or even the new weapons, which we'll start to check out here in just a little bit. What were some additional ways? I can imagine it probably wasn't just even more, but you guys were saying you were trying to make some more of these mobs a bit more
Thanks,
intense
Bacon.
to go ahead and go up against as well.
Yeah. So with the telling the story of the Vex are like evolving and changing, we've I went ahead and modified an existing wyvern. I'm so sorry. So
How dare you?
you'll engage with these wyverns in pairs, and they have a special new ability where they can teleport.
Fun.
And dodge around you, and
Yeah.
also
So friendly, so cool.
It's kind of scary.
Real
and-
nothing
Wyverns,
personal kid
which is
moment
what we
when
do.
they show up
Yeah,
behind you, right? Yeah.
Teleporting what,
They
sorry?
certainly are
Wyverns.
an active threat in the battlefield, and I wanted players to really
No, we don't need that.
be on the lookout for them and engage with them and prioritize them as like that priority target
Yeah.
when they are seen.
Apparently they roll in pairs
Yeah,
now.
and
That's pretty good.
something that's been neat. Like obviously, players will have
I
a
don't
chance.
find
The
that
first
cool at all.
two of these
You
battlegrounds
have a very
obviously
different
arrived
idea
the first
of what
week
cool
of Act
is.
2, with the third one hitting on the second week. But it's not even necessarily, I think.
I like my
something that's really
Destiny
cool is
simple.
you
Couple
were mentioning
drags,
earlier that you wanted to make
we're
these
done.
closer to a striker, kind of blur that line.
Oh, man.
Even
That aberrant action can roll
the
with
second
heal
battleground is
clip
kind of like
and
an
incandescent.
all new
I think that
experience
would
in a lot
be
of ways. It's not
the
just
right
going back
choice.
to a part of the planet we've been to before with new foes, but it's a brand new experience.
Tune in to
Can you
watch
tell
the
us what it was like
stream
kind
and
of putting
get Sam's
that
god
together and
rolls.
sort of creating this journey to the center of Nessus?
Yeah, so we really wanted to tell a story of that journey to the center of Nessus, and
Got a golden
that requires
tricon.
new geo, new
That's
art, new
actually really
environment.
sick.
Drops
So
are
every
enabled,
after this
by the
encounter
way.
onwards is just all new.
So as long as your
layout.
Twitch account and your
And we
Destiny
really
2
try
Bungie
our best
account
to, like,
are
carve out
linked,
what that
then
experience
you are
is,
earning
and
progress
that,
towards your drops.
as most folks know from Battlegrounds,
When you say
you
drops,
usually
we
go
had them
through
enabled from
patrol
Marvel
and
Snap,
get
so that's
maybe a new
what you're
boss
getting, but
space or
you're
just
getting
a new
drops for
encounter
Destiny
space.
2 while
These
you're here, too,
Battlegrounds really
as long as
push the
everything's
boundaries
connected
of,
on
like,
your end.
hey, this is all new. This is completely new, fresh. This it's kind of like a strike. It is a strike, almost.
The bosses were part of that exercise too,
Yeah.
though, I think. Like we were talking before, where it's not, just kind of taking characters that you've battled before and making them tougher, but it's a brand new encounter with new mechanics and new kind of like ways to go ahead and push further into the boss fight. That's the most broad strokes way I can describe it, but obviously, as the man who designed it, can you tell us a little bit more about creating these new boss experiences as well for players during this act?
Yeah, so one thing, back to like what players know from Battlegrounds is when someone plays a Battleground, they come in groups of 3 or 4, players are like, I know what to expect from this boss encounter. It's usually the same but similar boss encounters.
Right.
But for these Battlegrounds, they're all unique bosses. They're all different. They're all challenging in their own ways, and they're just very different, very different from one another. So that was the experience we're trying to hit here. Is players, when they jump into a Battleground, it's not going to be the same. It'll be different. The boss encounter will be different. We'll be trying to tell a story with the boss encounter that you're engaging with. Doling out immunity gates and engagements in that boss encounter in different ways, be it with just telling a story while you're engaging the boss, or like a damage window, or just no damage immunities at all, where the player is just engaging with a boss that has the largest health pool I've placed on a boss ever.
Maybe.
Nice.
Maybe. Yeah.
For now.
See. Plenty of
Did you
chances
say
to
the
go ahead and
largest
test out
health pool you've ever placed on a boss ever?
Yeah, instead of having immunity gates, which is great. I'd rather just
I say
boss
that because I keep a
massive
shotgun
amounts
on
of
me for a
health
very good
than
reason.
be locked out.
But no, there's
I'm
obviously a ton of stuff to check out in that
sold on
regard.
one
but I think
versus
I'd be
the
remiss if
other,
we
but
didn't
we've had
also talk
so
a bit more
much
kind of about what we're
like,
seeing on screen
yeah,
in some way.
gating
Is
the health
Chris,
bar
we've got
that
some new
I'm down for
weapons
just
that are going to
like
be arriving with
an
this
absurd
act
amount
as
of
well.
health, but no.
If you wouldn't mind, can you tell us a little
no
bit more
phases.
about kind of maybe even this
Yeah.
one we're seeing here on screen? This is one of the new ones as well, isn't it?
Something
this
different.
is the aberrant action solar rocket-assisted frame
did like
sidearm.
Or
how they
rocket
did it
sidearms,
in
you love
Yep.
to hear it.
Yeah,
Warlords
the
Ruin,
first
they
solar
did
rocket
have, like,
sidearm,
the
and it's a
locks
banger.
on the
Yeah.
that you can push
The
through.
roll that we're showing here
Right.
is heel clip incandescent, which is probably it
That's
synergizes
what I
super
want.
well with solar subclass.
Yeah.
It's definitely the one that does that the best. Just to say it, the art for these weapons is awesome. Like the weapons art team knocked it out of the park.
Are they
This one in
craft?
particular has some nice touches when you aim down sights with it.
Yeah.
Like cool little
Yeah,
animation
exactly,
there.
Bacon. Future
Pretty neat.
GM.
It's going to be addictive, honestly. Got a very Vex Mythoclast feel to it, honestly.
There are some other like interesting perk combos on this as well. So I'm particularly fond of Pugilist and Demolitionist.
Yeah.
As you get kills so fast with these rocket sidearms that regenerating your ability energy as you're doing that keeps you armed to the teeth at all times.
Yeah, never hurts. In addition to that, we've also got a new arc heavy burst pulse rifle, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Corasian arc heavy burst pulse rifle.
Yeah.
Another one in this seasonal set. And yeah, this is we
You could also
introduced
be going
this
to
subfamily
the
with,
Pyramidion.
Partnership, and this
Yeah.
is the third one of these. The roll that we've got here, high impact reserves left column.
That's
is also
another
always
Vex.
very good, and Volts
Yeah.
at right column.
Things,
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty strong.
You know
would
what?
Also look at
I
getting frenzy
am-
right column.
Vex
Because,
weapon
high impact reserves is great,
design is
but it
not
doesn't
my
give you any
favorite.
stats. So having frenzy gives you a bit of damage and those stats as well, and
not
very
my
high
favorite.
uptime. Really
These
great.
look
Yeah.
like these
Imagine,
look
too, in the
like
era
a
where
cross
the pulse
between
rifles you got living through their anti-barrier era as well. It's probably not too bad to have one with that
I can't
many
remember the
stats,
name.
perks on it, frankly.
Yeah.
Like, I can see Volt Shot.
It was that
doing a lot of
giant
untold
AI
damage
that
just
protected us
behind
for years and
enemy
years and
lines
years.
Pretty rapidly with that guy.
Oh, Rasputin.
That's a pretty
Rasputin,
juicy
thank you.
as well.
Yeah.
It looks like a cross between like Rasputin and
Yeah, Seeker
Vex.
fans,
These
for
weapons,
sure.
you know.
Potentially. And then in addition to that, an old favorite is going to be making its return. Saints' tried and true favorite shotgun. Perfect Paradox is coming back as well from Season
Perfect
of Dawn.
Paradox.
Yeah, perfect.
How many
Paradox is
times have
back,
we had this?
Along with a
I think
bunch of
just
other
once,
Dawn
right?
weapons. This is the one
You
we're
sure?
dropping.
Right?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it's just one.
And yeah, all
Or
of
was
the
it-
perks that you know and
Maybe
love
we
from
did. We have it in
original,
Destiny 1.
plus a bunch of new ones,
I don't
plus the
think so. I'm
new
pretty
origin
sure Perfect
traits,
Paradox was- I
Cast No Shadows.
That's I'm forgetting
If you're doing a
something.
melee build,
No,
just
I think you're
synergizes
right.
really nicely with it. So,
Yeah.
threat detector left column, and
I think
then,
that looks
pretty cool.
trench barrel.
Mate,
if you're
we've
just
had it
doing damage
twice
with weapon,
already.
or 1-2 punch.
Season
if you're doing
2
melee
because of
build.
Osiris, and
Yeah,
then
it's a
season
ton of
9.
fun and fits in really well with the rest
Wow.
of Saints' arsenal this
Yeah.
year.
We combination blow hunters
Must be
are
the
about to have a
third
very
time.
good time. I can already tell, honestly. As if we weren't already. No, it's been great. So with some new additions to the weapon sandbox,
Someone's
there's
using
also
Whisper.
some new, a new row, pardon me, of perks unlocking on the seasonal artifact
looks
as well.
like it,
Isn't that
right?
right?
Looks like,
So each act we're adding
it's
a
got
new row.
the Taken skin on
So
it.
this is 5 new artifact mods. And with these, we're really leaning into sniper rifles and solar damage.
Yeah.
So we'll bring this up in a
New
second.
artifact.
They're the fire team here obviously
Are they
has a little
just
bit of their hands full, and also
adding
Is that just
them
being
on?
added straight to the
Peyton,
artifact?
Mitch,
I don't
and Justin
know.
here, who
That's
are
what I
doing
want to
real
know.
heavy
Click
lifting.
on your
Carrying
artifact.
us through this
Come on,
activity as
come
well.
on, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inspect it.
So
No, it's
Sniper is
bigger,
coming
for
back.
sure.
Oh, it's just
Personal
another row
favorite.
down the bottom. Interesting.
Of this
Okay.
artifact
There's
mod.
been a lot of
Oh,
buzz
that's cool.
about
That
I
way
think, when
it's
everyone
not like
saw it
having
on
to
the-
get
on the new seasonal
more
artifact.
XP.
Yep, it makes it
Yeah.
really easy to deal with.
You, sir, have a
barrier
deal.
champions,
I accept
and,
your proposal.
Like you
I will
can also
take
go
5
through
more
phalanx shields, all sorts of shields.
artifact mods.
Scavenger mods are
great.
I was
significantly
so bad for the Hive
discounted.
Knights that
Good.
set up so defiant with their shield, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, but this is not going to go well for you.
Yeah, and
What's
then
the last
scavenger
one?
mods.
That
So you
looks
can
like
keep
some
those
sort of
special ammo sniper rifles fed.
Inverse solo operative.
Moving on, incendiary rifle rounds. Yeah, so
Solar
if you've got a
sniper.
solar
Wait.
sniper rifle, and I can think of a couple.
Scorched
Whisper of the
targets?
Worm.
Is that
yeah.
new
There's also
exotic
Still Hunt.
sniper rifle?
This really juicy.
From
Sure is.
Cade?
Scorching targets with this artifact mod, and then if we move on to the next one, once you build up enough scorch stacks and you
Oh,
have that ignition,
man.
it will do
Hell
increased
yeah.
damage.
Oh
It's,
man, we're bringing
Yeah.
it back, Sam.
Super,
We're going
super
through
strong.
GMs with
And not
solar
only that, but
ignitions.
we're adding this other artifact mod for sniper rifles, which increases
What's the
damage with
last
every
one?
precision
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
So
What was the
if
other
you're
one?
landing like crit after crit on a boss with Whisper or Still Hunt or your favorite legendary solar sniper rifle,
Yeah.
you're going to be the damage
Keep
output is
going.
going to be really
With that mouse.
Whisper of the Worm
Let's go.
memes are just going to be feasting.
What's the last one, bro?
Your next decision run is about to be just a symphony of Whispers of the Worm, honestly. Which is
you
not a
go.
bad way to spend some time. Also, this is as I was looking through kind of the additional buffs that
I
were
want
gonna be
all
added.
of
So
those.
with the
Cool.
arrival of
Those are good
Act 2,
mods.
obviously Solstice will be a part of that.
Stacking
We'll touch on that a
sniper
little bit
rifle
later
damage,
here in the
stability,
stream.
and reload
But with the
bonuses.
arrival of Solstice, you guys are also working on a new balance update as well.
Yeah.
Wow,
Covers
Whisper's coming
weapons,
back
Covers
this,
armor, covers abilities.
this act, it looks
I'm going
like.
to go ahead and kick off with perhaps an update that's very near and dear to my heart. As a Dead Man's Tale main, the Tex Scout rifles are getting a pretty solid PvE buff across the board. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we've seen that the legendary and exotic aggressive scout rifles have been lagging a bit behind in damage output in PvE. So we're bumping that by 30%, which puts them, like,
30%
just ahead of the
for,
current
my
leaders
Dead Man's
for,
Tale in PvE.
Scout rifle damage output.
Yeah.
They're a ton of fun. Like, they hit really hard.
Are they-
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Was that for
not
the
only because I just
exotic
like hit
as well?
firing guys from across the map.
what,
but
sorry?
I gotta tell you, I'm looking
Was
for
it
any
for
excuse
Dead
I
Man's
can
Tale,
to
or was
keep
it
Dustin
just
Yes,
Dead Man's
it's
Tale.
for
Yeah.
it's for
Fighting
yeah,
Lion has taken
it
its
is.
place recently, but just as a
It's for,
temporary.
I think it's
thing.
for.
okay.
We
Also,
have a fun seasonal aggressive scout
He
rifle,
mentioned
which
the
you
brand
should keep an eye out
specifically
for.
though,
Yes.
so I
That's
don't know
right,
if it's
yeah.
a scout
I haven't spent as
rifle.
much time with that as I ought to, honestly. I've been mostly hanging out with Lost Signal, speaking of Fighting Lion. But this isn't time for Andy to share his loadouts necessarily.
That's another live stream.
That's another live stream. That's right. Yeah, that's just me tweeting into the void and being like, "Fighting Lion." The Fighting Lion subreddit is probably very happy right now. So shout out to all of them. In addition to that, an old favorite of mine as well. Speaking of some of the classics, Ariana's Vow is going to be getting a pretty sizable buff against barrier shields as well.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
we've had a bunch of changes to exotic weapons and how they interact with area champions. And Ariana's Vow fell a bit behind, so we've bumped its damage substantially. It's 67%. This means that in
67%.
most difficulties it will break barrier champion shields in 2 shots,
Yeah.
which makes its ammo economy like much more valuable.
Right.
And it had a pretty big rework recently. This just makes it
2
much
shots to
stronger.
bust a shield. Okay.
Always a good time to go ahead and have that sitting on your hip, honestly.
I guess
That's-
one
We've got
shot
some other
would just
weapons.
make it
Any in
too
particular that you
powerful.
wanted to speak to?
Like,
while we're here?
yeah.
Obviously, all this will
Monster.
arrive on Bungie.net later, but as long as we got you here, I'd love to hear if you got any more on your mind that you'd love to speak to.
Yeah, with the sniper rifle focus in this act, we really wanted to improve their ease of use a bit more in PvE. One of the biggest problems is when you're
I guess
trying to
my
land crits on a witness or
Keller
something and you're
sniper's
taking a
coming
bunch of damage,
Right.
you're getting flinched off target a lot. So we've gone in and halved the flinch from PvE enemies.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
I'm also, like, a little bit of
Half
foreshadowing,
flinch
but
on
we've
PvE.
gone in and removed the penalties from adept mods. And this is sort of setting the stage for a larger set of mods that will be dropping in a future release. Not too far out.
Yeah. The proverbial stay tuned for everyone out there as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Removing the
Actually, and also
negatives
we were
for the
talking a bit
adept
before the
mods,
show
that
too,
is
but
massive.
there's going to be some armor
Yeah.
tuning as well, isn't there as well to like the mods, I believe.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do a lot of raiding, you're probably familiar with the reserves mod swapping shenanigans that you can do. And this is just sort of fiddly and annoying for players. We don't think it's a balance issue, but it is irritating. We didn't want players to have to do it. So now when you switch your reserves mods back off, it'll bring your total reserves back down to their current cap. And to balance that out, we've increased reserves for special and heavy weapons across the board. It varies per weapon type, but it's in the 10 to 15% range.
Nice, okay.
That's good.
And in addition to that, if you do like running reserves mods permanently, we've reduced their cost by 1. You'll note that with some of the discounted mods from the artifact, like already.
I'm a little weirded out by how much Bungie is giving us.
Very
these
nice. All right.
days.
So build crafters, you've all been made aware. Now's a chance to start
They're
taking
just
those variables in your spreadsheets across the board.
all that annoying stuff. Gone.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of stuff to dive into still yet, but we've also got a brief, quick preview of some stuff that's going to be arriving with Solstice. Now, I know our fire team is here hard at work in the background, but very briefly, I wanted to make sure that as a part of this show, we took a look at the armor sets that are going to be arriving with Solstice. So, as a reminder, Solstice is going to be hitting here with Act 2.
Thank you for the follow,
Should be a pretty
Thug.
good time for you guys to dive into. We'll have more information soon, but you can take a look here and see kind of the, I don't know, old-timey pilot race car driver. Maybe I'm just channeling my old inner race car driver here.
Yeah, I can really see the
He's got a tie.
influence in this, that idea of an explorer who's going and delving into different places.
Yeah,
Also the pants.
I was gonna say, with boots like this,
Consider the pants.
yeah, seriously.
Looks like
the
a
first time
private
as a
eye,
hunter,
like
I'm
an
jealous of
investigator with
Warlocks.
that tie and
Congratulations,
trench
Warlocks, you did it.
All right.
Let's see. Up next, we've also
dig
got
that.
our friendly neighborhood Titan, I believe, with perhaps one
I need
of
to
the
see the hunter
coolest
first, but
helmets
so
I've
far
ever
I'm
seen
not
available
happy.
to them.
That
Once again,
is a
as
very
hunter,
cool,
it's
like,
a very
aviator
alien
looking
feeling,
jacket.
being jealous of Titans, but this is one time I'll go ahead and summon that feeling, honestly.
Okay.
Titans
That's
out there,
cool.
make sure you go ahead and start getting your transmogs ready.
All right, let me see the
This is
hunter.
one I can't wait to see start running around the tower. Should be pretty solid. And then, last but very not least, my fellow hunters, we also are going to be able to go ahead and feast. We've got another set of ornaments
Like a
coming our
little
way.
crop
Again,
top leather
really
jacket.
channeling kind of
That's
that
pretty cool as well.
style
The
that they're
cloak
really
looks
going
like the
for to
blanket on the
theme
back
for
of my
this solstice
couch.
in particular. And plus with an expanded sandbox of all the
And
goodies
look,
that folks have been
It's
working on.
not
Symmetrical
bad.
boots,
It's cool.
Tear
It's
through it
cool.
with we are
Symmetrical
very appreciative
boots.
of
I know
it.
that's a big thing for
Yeah.
hunters,
So just
having
kind of a quick
asymmetry.
Look at what's the
It's
I guess
more.
it's a-
It's more about the symmetrical.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the
Arms.
main set
Right,
of
but that's-
topics
it's
for
more about
today.
the
We're
arms.
going
I
to
thought
go
it was
ahead
about
and
the
see
boot.
chat
The
very
boots
briefly
being
to make sure
different.
we can go ahead and grab any questions.
Well, no, I don't really have that. I don't
Ryan,
like
honestly,
the toes.
We're now
They're all
into-
like
is this the
split
second
though. But,
battleground?
that's not
Yeah, we're in the
good. We don't
second
like that.
battleground on the second encounter right
Split
now.
Yeah.
So what we didn't see previously was players were, when they finished the first battleground, the second battleground actually starts where the first battleground ends to
Yeah.
continue on your journey into the center of Nessus.
Yeah.
And that's the same for when you end battleground 2. That's where you start for battleground 3.
Very exciting. That's kind of cool, actually, having that, again, that journey to the center of Nessus. Sort of in that same vein, actually, one thing I also kind
I
of
watched that
want
movie
to
in the 80s.
ask selfishly is a wise narrative director once said that stories are told
We're
in
looking
3
for
acts.
markings on the
Can
wall.
you tell us a
little
little bit about
notches
what
to
this
follow down.
episodic structure offers you guys? Like, what are you able to
Yeah.
try that's different?
So humans like stories that have shapes, right?
Right.
When we think of a story where you're kind of like in the same place, like doing the same thing, like sometimes we want to make sure that our stories feel like they have shape and momentum to them. For example, with episode 1, we can think of the shape of it kind of as starting in this place of really like lighthearted. It's a fun romp, it's a fun adventure, and
Yeah.
it slowly goes down into a really dark place.
As all the doom happens in the background, we're having
Exactly.
fun with failsafe.
We get to play with that play with those shapes and play
Yeah.
with that structure with each of our episodes. So in episode 2, in episode 3, it may start at different places and the energy may take you in different ways.
Yeah.
We got to really experiment and play around with what are we introducing narratively, which enables us to add things like a focus on Fate 14 for Act 2, or different ways that the battlefields may change as we're going through.
Yeah.
Humans like stories that have shape to them, and that's what a really well-defined act structure allows us to do.
Yeah. It's exciting to see, honestly, as we've just getting
Yeah.
started here in Echoes and with episode 2 on the way, but we'll talk more about that at a later date. Worry not. We've got plenty to dive into with Act 2 right in front of us. But as far as my agenda goes, I think actually we've thankfully hit kind of the primary bulk of the show.
Could I touch briefly on the ability stuff? That's
Please, yeah, thank you for this. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been monitoring feedback in PvP around prismatic hunters, and
That's
particularly
what
the two
Stubborn.
pain points around swarm grenades and threaded spectre. So we're bringing both of those down into line.
Yeah.
We've also got a couple of PvE changes coming, and this is Titan stuff. It's sort of previewing some Titan changes that are going to come in a future release.
Yeah.
but we're bumping up the damage of the supers, Twilight Arsenal, and Hammer of Soul. So those should both be a lot more competitive.
That's right, yeah.
Nice.
Hammer of Soul Titans rejoice. Also, I selfishly like grabbing that axe from Twilight Arsenal, so if those could keep existing, I'd be a very happy camper.
Yeah.
Also, we got a question from chat. Freeboop asks, probably one for you, Chris. Are you guys still evaluating the interactions of the combo on Edge Transit, or will you swap from Envious Assassin to Cascade Point and a 24 magazine while you still have Cascade Point?
Yeah, so we mentioned a few weeks back that we're going to be adjusting that. It ended up needing a code change, which is typically a little bit slower to roll out, but that fix is still coming. So
Very exciting.
if you missed out on getting that that perk combination, that is not going to be an exploit that continues to work.
Excellent. Fair enough. All right. Thank you, Freeboop, for the question. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think thankfully that as we watch our steadfast group of Guardians go ahead and continue their way here through the Battlegrounds, I think that's kind of the high and low of our show, everyone. Of course, we wanted to go ahead and make sure as we dive into the events of Act 2, as we go to prepare to conclude Act 1, we wanted to make sure that all of you had a sense of what was coming. And again, a reminder, this launches next week on July 16th. Quick reminder of the topics we covered. Of course, we're going to go ahead and remind you that the Bungie Foundation folks are doing some amazing work. Go ahead and scan that QR code and check out what they're up to. Otherwise, Act 2 arrives next week. With it, you'll have these 3 new Battlegrounds, 2 launching with the first week, the 3rd arriving on the 2nd week, new weapons joining the sandbox, new artifact mods for you to go ahead and unlock, and of course, Solstice will be joining us later on into the act. But otherwise, before we go, I of course want to make sure that we take a chance to go ahead and thank our amazing cast here. Thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about what's to come.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
Yeah, appreciate the time. To our amazing team of playtesters in the background, Mitch, Justin, and Peyton, thank you very much for doing the proverbial heavy lifting. To the amazing team here, producers in-house, they go ahead and put this all on. Thank you all so much. Honestly, we always appreciate it. And last, but of course not least, to all you Guardians out there, thanks for taking the time to join us today. We'll see you all very soon, but in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
Cool. All right. That was a nice little overview of, I guess, what we can expect. You know, I guess starting next week. I'm particularly excited about the episode 2 structure change, where each act will be available sort of in its entirety the day the act launches, and it's just if I want to smash through it all in one sitting, I can, or spread it out. But I think for the remainder of episode 1 Echoes, it's going to be this sort of weekly cadence. Which, yeah, whatever.
No, I agree. And it's, I think that the way that things have been trending over the last couple of years are very good. They have been dialing back on some of the grinding mechanics of it. I mean, there's still things, I don't think it's ever going to totally go away just by the nature of what it is, but
yeah,
it is getting better. I think that we've seen a lot of improvements with that, and that is honestly, it's one of the reasons that I've talked in the past about taking breaks from the game. And it's one of the reasons that I end up taking breaks is that I'm just like, man, I'm just, I can't just keep doing it every week. And this is just, but this is great because it means that you can take the break, but then you can still come back and look to your point. Like if you want to sit down for 5 hours and just smash through an entire act story, you can do that. No problem.
Yeah. And I find myself most motivated at the top end of a season or an episode or an expansion where things just release and I've got the momentum to push through it. But then as it goes on, it's kind of I run out of steam and it's there are other games coming out and other things I need to do, and it's tougher to get back in and pick back up where you left off.
Yeah, and you don't want to be playing something and then have to stop because it's I'm at the natural stopping point. And you go away for a couple days and you play something else, and that's fine. And then, Monday rolls around and you think to yourself, oh, I have to log in to do this. That's not the way that the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You stuff.
No, I understand that with an MMO online sort of live service game, you have to have these checkpoints where the player reaches something and it's okay, you have to wait now because we're still working on other stuff and we can't just have 6 months of just dead air of nothing happening. So
Yeah.
I understand those things. But when it comes to a story, imagine if you're playing, I don't know, for lack of a better thing, Call of Duty, and you finish the second level, and it's like, well, come on, you got to
For
stop.
lack
That's
of
too
a
quick.
better thing.
Literally the first like shooter
Yeah,
with a
okay.
story that I can think of, you know. It's
I
like,
don't know,
oh,
man. Well, okay, all right. But anyways, I see your
Or
point,
Red
even though
Dead
I don't
Redemption 2.
necessarily.
If Red Dead Redemption 2 was like, oh, hold up, you're progressing Arthur Morgan's story a little bit too fast. You got to stop.
Yeah, I mean, totally
Um,
different things. But
yeah,
also, we get a whole bunch of follows. So thank you to everybody that's following. Drops are still enabled. And I believe if Sam, you said you only have to watch for like 15 minutes or something like that to get there.
Yeah, you only need to watch
Yeah.
15 minutes. Yeah.
So drops are enabled for Destiny 2. If you type in the actual like exclamation drops, it's going to show Marvel Snap. So don't freak out about that. It's all good. It's Destiny 2. We just didn't update the message. So, but yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, Sam. I've got 10 minutes left, guys. Please. Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think that I'm of the opinion that Destiny 2 is on its victory. And I've said this to you privately. I think we're at the point where they're all done with the grind. And I think that's because they are, like, it's winding down. Whether people want to argue about when is Destiny 3 coming, when isn't it, it's winding down. Like, that was, even if we get another expansion, it's still winding down. And they're going to start to give us more concessions with things, and they're going to start to give us more quality of life things. And I think you would agree we saw something of a smaller scale, but similar in Destiny 1. Like, year 3 was like the victory lap, where we started getting all those things that we were asking. You know?
Yeah, Rise of Iron and the moments of triumph, I think, where they were like, all right, you know what? Vault of Glass, Crota's End, let's bring back these primary elementals in the form of exotics.
Yeah.
And have at it. Enjoy.
I think the thing that I'm most excited for 2 are the artifacts. The new ones. For me, I don't think I've ever had any more fun than build crafting with like you and Dusty and going into Grandmaster Nightfalls. Like sitting there and like spending an hour like tweaking the tiniest things. Like I still have that build that I can use invisibility indefinitely. Like it never goes away. And if that ever gets deleted, I don't know what I'll do, because we'd have to figure out what we did, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find something else as well.
If it ever happens. Yeah, if it ever happens. But but I mean, that's, you know, like there's all these builds that I have saved that are now part of my toolboxes, and some of them don't get used for, you know, months, and then all of a sudden there's a reason to use them. Reinvigorates me with that. And the artifact mods always played a big part in that, because I don't think I ever had any used to like blow up entire rooms with ignitions in GMs. Like they were nothing. GMs were nothing when we were using ignitions.
Yeah, that was so easy. What
it almost
season
feels,
was that?
I'm not sure. It's the season that we realized how incredible.
What now? You just cut off there.
I said it was the season we realized that Skyburner's Oath was incredible.
Oh yeah, it was a very Cabal heavy season. I want to say it was like Season of the Risen at the start of Witch Queen, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. It was shortly. Yeah, it would have been after Witch Queen. Not too far. But those artifact mods that I saw today are the first time that I've been like, oh, maybe we're circling back around for that, you know, for some more ignitions. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, just hold that thought for a second. If anyone's struggling with the emblem situation, I think if you have multiple streams up, that can sometimes interfere with it. And just try refreshing the stream, and you should see more progress be made on the drop there. Not sure what's happening. That was kind of happening for me, so give it a little look. But we're going to keep going for, you know, maybe another 10 minutes or so here, just so that you can get some more time. But in terms of the artifacts and the ignition and the scorch, that's super exciting, especially with, you know, the solar sniper rifles that we have at the moment, with Still Hunt just absolutely dominating that end game, and things like Whisper of the Worm coming back now. You know, I can't remember exactly what they changed about Whisper of the Worm. Was it just a general buff across the board that made people go, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to get back in and use this now.
I'm not sure because I am firmly like Still Hunt doesn't leave
Yeah.
that slot for me. It just doesn't. And I know this is on a like we play Destiny quite often with a gentleman named Dusty that, he's also a hunter. He usually has a similar build to myself. We kind of coordinate that sometimes. Unless he's, the invisibility guy, in which he clutches constantly. But he just got Still Hunt. So now I need to go do content with Dusty, which is 2 golden gun hunters with Still Hunt. We're looking for like just the right boss just to see who we can melt, right? Like, because it does such an absurd amount of damage when you pair those 2 things together. And then if you had 2 guardians use the same thing, it's gross.
Yeah, especially if you got Celestial Nighthawk as well. I think, did you just say that? Celestial Nighthawk?
Yeah, we both use, and man, I know this is off on the side, but I didn't realize that when you rallied to a flag, Still Hunt gets its golden gun.
Interesting, because I guess it's classified as a super in the code or something, so that when you touch that
and
flag...
nobody better ever fix that because it's wonderful. But you start off too, so you can burn them real quick, and then that's why I like to kick off boss encounters by hitting the boss with the golden gun twice, and then I have 3 or 4 to play and hopefully have it back in order to finish the encounter.
Yeah, and now with those artifact mods that are coming, because they're going to be mods down they're adding in another row, so there's not a column, so we're not going to need to get more than 12 mod tokens, I guess, for lack of a better word, to spend. They're going to be down the bottom, so it's just going to expand each column by 1 point, so that you can, I don't know, instead of getting some of the what other artifact.
So what you're saying though is it basically like you're not adding another column people then have to unlock, right? It's just if you've unlocked the final column, you're still going to have it unlocked. That's
yeah. So long as you've got the all 12.
And as long as you're obviously buying, you have to buy mods obviously in like a certain amount in a column in order to unlock.
Yeah, I guess it just means instead of like slapping, because I don't know about you, but in order to reach that final column, I ended up having to put like unlock a artifact perk that I don't really care about. You know, like I might throw one in to be like, I gotta reach the next threshold so I can get this one. So I don't know, chuck it in. Overload sword. And I'm not.
I would be happy to see them separate the artifact in the sense of like just have a progress bar for your artifact, and like once you fill it, you can just choose whatever you.
Yeah, but then you could pick all in the last column.
Sure. Victory lap. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I said what I said.
Yeah, you said what you said. I'm aware of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I mean though, is like and I'm not saying they're gonna do that, but like there's been a lot of concessions. Like we're getting more heavy and special ammo, right?
Yeah.
Like the reserves.
Yeah.
Those are going up.
Look, they tried. Bungie tried previously. The artifact has gone through so many different iterations, mate. Like there was remember that time for like maybe 2 seasons where you could just unlock every single artifact mod? You could unlock. There was like for 2 seasons you could unlock every single artifact mod. You could unlock all 25 and just have.
And I did.
That was crazy, man.
It was wonderful.
That was for I feel like that was for like 2 seasons, and Bungie was like, you know what? That's too much. That's too much.
We gotta, I mean, and I don't know if this coincides with the season of blowing everything up, but I remember when we first started doing GMs, you had to be on your game. Right.
God,
and then there was that season, and we were just like, just turn it on. We'll figure
who
it
knows?
out.
Yeah, I'll play out of the corner of my eye whilst I'm watching something.
Yeah, and then like everything, it would just be boom, 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 and everything was dead, and then you just went to the next area. Yeah, I think that was probably around the same time as like just being able to the artifact. It was
it was nutty. Remember, you used to have to put artifact mods actually in your armor. They weren't just perks that just stayed persistent. Man, wild times. It's definitely exciting to see them, like you said, sort of embrace this idea of have at it, have fun. We've defeated the witness. Let's just do a victory lap and clean up the universe a little bit, the last little remaining things, and see what comes next. Because
I don't think this is unrelated, but I've said this to you a few times. Like, if I'm gonna get frustrated, I'm doing an encounter, and this isn't a huge problem anymore with like rallies to like flags and whatnot. But there's certain circumstances where you die and you've lost your super, and you've lost your grenade, maybe you've lost your melee, whatever, you're low on heavy. I have this saying, nobody ever finished fighting a boss and said, man, that was amazing, but I just had too much heavy ammo.
Yeah.
That's never happened. So like, I mean, I feel like the way that they're sort of just like unleashing in general is sort of in that spirit of like, don't be afraid if you make us a little bit too powerful and we're broken in a way that benefits Guardians.
Yeah.
You can always dial it back a little bit, but like, I'd rather go into something and be like, I have 2 golden guns. This is amazing. Instead of, kind of like underselling and then buffing. You know what I mean? I'd rather go the other way. So
yeah, I think the community also like really those sort of funny moments really resonates with the community, like the crafting, where you could just craft some wild weapons, or even just the laser tag weekend where Prometheus lens was popping off, and I think Curse of Osiris or something, or the Lord of Wolves.
Lord of Wolves was a bad week.
That meta was just.
I still, to this day, because I go in and record Zer's inventory now. I used to do the location, but now that he just kind of sits in the same spot, I do his inventory for Shacknews. Obviously, Asif edits the video, puts it up on all our channels. So every Friday, you can come to Shacknews, and you can check out Zer's inventory. So you can do that with TikTok. You can do it with. I believe we do it on Instagram, X, I think Facebook, like we do it on YouTube Shorts, like it's everywhere. So you can check all that out in terms of like what Zer has to sell if you're not at home. But every time I see Lord of Wolves in Zer's inventory, it's just like I get like a little clammy, like I'm like, oh, because it was a bad week. Yeah, but the laser tag thing, to your point, that was broken. More people played PvP that weekend.
Yeah.
Because they were like, this is awesome. Who cares? This is just fun. And that was really cool. Like, and it's the same thing with a loot cave. Like, you can't have that all the time, but like when the things that you remember in Destiny history as being like incredible, like sort of, I guess, just natural moments that emerged are usually things that just didn't go right. Like they went wrong, but they went wrong in a fun way.
Yeah.
Like Telesto. I'm sad it's not broken. Like I love it when Telesto is just busted and then like someone in Bungie's community team has to come out and put out a tweet like Telesto.
Yeah. Telesto broke strikes or something ridiculous.
We have we have disabled Telesto because it kills everything in one shot.
Yeah.
That was always fun.
Shane D-Wins was saying that they hope Bungie does different exotics that offer. They do different exotics using different supers, kind of like Still Hunt. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see more exotic weapons be released that really lean into letting players use their supers in unique ways in terms of like someone else just said, Deathbringer, kind of being the Nova Bomb.
Look, if I ever see anybody shoot a Well of Radiance out of a Wither Horde, I'm uninstalling.
That's a great idea. An empowering rift out of empowering rifts out of a gun. Blip, blip, yeah.
Wither Horde, heal. Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. That would be
cannon that fires Titan bubbles. I love that idea. That's fantastic. Just get up
like 400 Titan bubbles.
Yeah, and then chuck on Helm of Saint 14. Go up to like a champion, tractor cannon, gets debuffed. You've summoned a Ward of Dawn. It's blinded. You get Armor of Light. Pop in.
Wither Horde, a Well of Radiance. Still hunt a Golden Gun. You're done.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know. Like, did we just fix Destiny? I think maybe
so.
we did.
Look, get us on the weapon design team. We got ideas.
They're just someone's watching this with Bungie and they're like, no. We're not doing any of that. Absolutely not. What is that? What is that? I am bad with names because I have a name for myself, but it's never anything that I can say on. So when a warlock throws that great big void bubble, not
the Nova Bomb.
Nova Bomb. What would be a good weapon to shoot Nova Bombs?
Yes, so it's got to be something void, obviously. So I think you'd probably be looking at Telesto. I think that'd be really
Oh
cool.
my god, could you imagine Telesto shooting Nova Bomb? I mean, it already does.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of,
think,
you know.
I think that's what you got to do. You got to, all those supercharged clusters, you got to turn it into one big cluster, and it's a. Yeah, look, I know Deathbringer already sort of does it, but you got to aim above the boss, and then it's got to fall down and split a little bit, and it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit finicky, right? It's not as easy as Still Hunt, which is, I'm gonna pop it, and then I'm gonna get it's easy. Still Hunt is easy. You got to get like a few critical hits, and then you get a hit scan golden gun, which is buffed.
A few critical hits? I don't know. It's like 10.
Is it 10? Surely.
I think it actually depends on the amount. It might depend on your shooting, because I think it's kind of like it changes. So it might be like
if we're struggling to get 10 critical hits. I think there's bigger issues going on here. Yeah, 6. It's 6. It's so few.
There you go. Well, it feels like 10. Maybe it's because I missed 4. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I'm a 60% shooter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, look. What Dreg's Promise, Arc Super, yeah. Maybe because could you do any other sort of like close range supers, from a gun, like Thunder Crash? You couldn't really do Thunder Crash in like a shotgun or something like that.
Yeah,
you kind of
can't. Come on.
You kind of need to be a projectile. What about some sort of arc?
I think this is where we take inspiration from Sea of Thieves. In Sea of Thieves, you can shoot yourself out of a cannon, right?
Yeah.
What if you load yourself into your shotgun for Crash?
Into your own shotgun.
Yeah, you are the round that goes into the shotgun. It drops on the ground. Someone's got to pick it up and shoot you.
Yeah. You know what? I've just thought of one. Look, linear fusion rifle. Okay.
Okay.
Charge it up. It shoots out the Tempest harpoon from the hunter. Blam. Charge it up.
Okay.
Fire it out. Now you've got a boss walking around with a big pole coming out of its noggin.
So then you're gonna have to do Lay Monarch with Shadow Shot then.
Lay Monarch with Shadow Shot. Yeah.
The greatest bow weapon ever made in Destiny history, especially in PvP. No, I'm joking. But I bug you about that all the time because you don't like bows, and I think Lay Monarch is ridiculously good.
It is ridiculous. It's horrific.
It's so, and it's never not been good. Like, it's just such a problem solver, especially like in solo content, like Lost Sectors and whatnot. It's really good. But I think Shadow Shot coming out of Lay Monarch, that would work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that would. I think so. Look, Leviathans with Shadow Shot, that's a good idea, but Leviathans really works on critical hits, and you kind of want to lean into that. Because I guess if you're using Lay Monarch, maybe you can make the poison like splash damage, whereas I feel it's got like Leviathan's Breath has so few rounds that I'd feel really bad maybe trying to aim it at the ground in the middle of a cluster of enemies, as opposed to, I don't know, getting a critical hit on something. But maybe that's
Lay Monarch is kind of the same thing with that.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's maybe why you could just make it a bit splash damagey. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I think that's a fun discussion though. Is like figuring out like what weapons you could just attach supers to. But I agree, they should do it. I'm thinking along the lines of stuff like, I'm wondering how you would use like the arc supers from a hunter, right? Because those are very melee based. I'm sure you could do like a glaive or something like that. But yeah, I would
chuck it on Ergo or a sword. Chuck it on Ergo Sum. Ergo Sum's already popping off.
Yeah,
like that's so good.
You just have a hunter flipping around with Ergo Sum.
Yeah. Doing that the quick dash one, the quick frame. What's it where you do like a heavy attack and then you do another heavy attack and it flicks you down to the boss or the enemy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I trigger the emblem? You have to make sure that Deathstroke. You have to make sure that your Bungie account is linked to your Twitch account. Just Google Twitch drops inventory, and you'll find a page that will take you to like your progress and whatnot, and you have to claim it from there. So let me see if I can find that, and I'll just put it in chat. Drops inventory page. Okay, so basically you're going to sign in and
Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, I think I have heard Sebastian Vettel. I assume you're talking to me and not Bill.
there you go. So I actually put it in chat. It's twitch.tv/inventory. And when you go there, see anything that you're working on right now. So, and it's not just for Destiny, it's any game. You can see what you're working on. And if you finished it, like I have, I just got the emblem for Echoes Act 2 Twitch drops. You can claim them. So you should see that screen. Yeah, sometimes you have to refresh. That is true. So don't be afraid to refresh it.
Yeah, also just make sure sometimes it can mess up if you've got multiple streams open and like Twitch doesn't know which stream you're sort of focusing on. So just pick one stream, then refresh it or close it, then go back in and it might work. Chaos Reach on Warlock on Delicate Tomb. Man, I can't remember what Delicate Tomb does. I know it's a fusion rifle.
Lord of
Right.
Wolves as the Blade Barrage super exotic. Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's great. I like that. Make that happen. But what I think is more important here is that not only is it a weapon with a class's super on it, but I think that needs to be complemented by an armor piece. So Celestial Nighthawk. Celestial Nighthawk?
That's
Yeah,
for the golden
Celestial
gun.
Night. Yeah, Celestial Nighthawk boosts Still Hunt. I'm like, Celestial Hawkmoon? No, Hawkmoon's the gun. Celestial Nighthawk boosts Still Hunt.
You hunt her really well, sir.
I know, I say thank you.
You hunt her like I Warlock. I'm just like, when you throw that ball and it floats around. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would love
Yeah.
to see more of those sort of super weapons be buffed by armor pieces. So, like, throw on the Skull of Ahamkara for, Deathbringer, and when it blows up, you get part of your Nova Bomb back or something. That would be great.
They could do some fun stuff. I think this conversation just highlights how fun it probably is to work at Bungie and work on the different weapons and the sandbox and gunplay. Because all these things we're talking about, that weird stuff is coming up. They're like, wait a minute, what if?
100%. Like, there was that developer who was talking about, she was making the sword, Ergo Sum, and was like, what if Wolfpack rounds, but on a sword? It's like, what the fuck?
I remember.
How does it even work? That's so cool.
You and I were sitting in Discord, and I was asking you what the god roll was for Ergo Sum. And you were like, Wolfpack rounds. And I was like, it doesn't roll with Wolf. Like, I was just immediately, I'm not going to hear it. It's not a thing. It's not going to roll with Wolfpack rounds. What are you talking about? Like, do you want to go back and... And then it turns out that it does. And I dropped that on my first one. I was pretty happy with that.
It was so good. Like, it helps so much as well, especially when you're in a team with sword users. It's like what me and my guys used. I think a lot of other teams used in the day one raid, using someone with Ergo Sum, just procking Wolfpack rounds so that all of our swords were just like, all you could hear was as all the little bits came flying off.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. It even took me time to figure out how to proc Wolfpack rounds with the heavy attack and right. I was still do this.
Just quick proc and then you can switch to something else.
Yeah, or just keep using your sword.
Yeah. Well, because
you don't get them, right? But everybody else does.
Yeah, you can. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you proc it, right,
and
you don't want
to sword.
and switch to another sword, you
Yeah.
can get the light attacks, because I think the main issue with Ergo Sum is its ammo economy, and if you just want to use the heavy attack to proc the Wolfpack rounds,
Right.
you can then switch to your heavy sword and then just use light attacks, which, especially if you got something like, I think it's Relentless Strikes, where multiple light attacks regenerates like heavy ammo, so that you've just essentially got Wolfpack rounds going, and you don't need to really waste your Ergo Sum ammo. And 5 swords with Relentless and Rollerblade.
Oh, somebody got in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Sparks, yeah, totally right. The Herald with Wolfpack and Ergo and 5 swords, easy for 2-phase. 100% easy 2-phase. Especially now, like, now that contest mode is off. Bro, during contest mode, that fight was crazy. That was insane. But I think that Bungie's done a fantastic job with the weapons so far, with the final shape, and moving forwards as well.
Hey,
How-
thanks. Thanks for the celebration, the bits. I thought those are the bits. I don't know. I'm not hip with the kids. I think it's
Yeah, celebration, nice. 40 bits, thank you. That's sick. Yeah, and love the Catalyst and Prismatic makes Ergo Sum insane. Does it really? I haven't really played around with the Catalyst too much on Ergo Sum. It kind of, I read it and I was a bit underwhelmed, but if you reckon it's pretty sick, I might check that out a little bit more. Because I guess, what is it? Is it damaging people with the Transcendent Grenade gives you ammo? Is that what it is? Is that what the Ergo Sum is? No worries, guys. Get back to work. Get it done. Get it done.
Yeah, it looks like I mean I have no idea how long. Good to go. I don't know if it just keeps going as long as we're live, but
I think it does.
It's yeah, we can take a few more minutes. I know that there's some folks in here obviously they're trying to finish off their drops. So for anyone who's just joining, I'll say this again, drops are enabled. You just have to make sure that your Bungie account is linked to Twitch, and then you can check out the twitch.tv/drops/inventory, and that will tell you your progress. And if you have completed the campaign, if you have watched enough and drop, then that will allow you to claim it. If you're not seeing the campaign in there, we can't help that. That's probably something to do with linking your account, but drops are enabled for us for sure. So I've just thrown the link into the chat as well. So if you click on that, that should tell you where. So
Oh, just cut out the end of that sentence there, Bill.
yeah, I was looking away from my microphone. Doesn't like when I do that. I've got monitors going everywhere so that I
Yeah.
monitors so I can monitor.
As for how long we're going to be on, we're probably not going to be on for too much longer. We might have to get back to it.
I have to go play Destiny now.
Yeah.
We gotta work. We got jobs here. Yeah. So we're gonna have to. We won't be on for too much longer, but maybe we'll do or something.
Yeah.
But no, just I really thought that I like that Bungie does these streams. Like I know that they're not the most groundbreaking things. Like in the past, you found some of this information just in a TWID, and probably still will. But and I said TWID. I'm sorry. I know it. I can't. I said I'd never go off a TWAB, but they're wearing me down, man.
I
They're wearing
know.
me down.
Every time.
But
they say it,
anyways,
it's like-
TWID,
it's like-
fine. They, I was again like, I'm excited for the most health on a boss ever, which is something that they talked about. That's neat to me because like health pools don't scare me. I mean, they might scare me in like super high difficulty. They don't scare me in like a seasonal thing. Like, and I just don't want to do phases. Like, there's nothing worse than when like you pop your golden gun and you shoot the boss and he's immune, and you're just like, come on. Like,
Yeah. See, I don't mind phases. What shits me to tears is things like the Ghost of the Deep boss in the final fight, where you have to spend like 10 minutes preparing to take down its shield, and then you pop its shield using Arbalist, and you get maybe 15 seconds of damage, and then if its health bar is too big, you take off like an inch of health, and then on Master or something, you take off an inch of health, and then you're back to running the little mechanics for another 15 minutes. It's just
You're
like
talking
this
about
takes
a specific
so
dungeon, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it goes to the deep, mate. Yeah.
So,
the final
sorry,
boss.
I was checking out chat as you said
Yeah,
that, so I might have
100%. It goes to the deep. No, that's all right. It's
And that's the reason that I would never like. I would love to solo Ghost of the Deep all the way up into the point of the boss, and I have no interest in it.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the boss and like, it's, you know, some people say skill issue, and look, whatever you reckon. If it's a skill issue, it's a skill issue, right? I get tired of it. I don't want to be running around doing one boss fight for 45 minutes and then maybe taking a stray hit from a thrall or, you know, overextending myself just a little bit and then having to do it again. That just does not seem appealing.
Well, it's because you're not like, by that point, you're not being tested. You are, but you're being tested on your ability.
Skill issue.
Yeah. You're being tested on your ability not to mess up. That's it. It's just like, you know what? It's like doing a race and having 200 laps. And it's like, no one's in your way. All you have to do, drive around the track. But if you slip up one time, you're screwed. Like, that's the thing about it, that like, you've already proved that you can do lots of damage. You've already proved that you've got the build to get in there. You've already proved that you can like take down the shield. And then it's like, well, why don't you prove that 7 more times? It's like, how about I don't?
Yeah, look, 3 times? No worries, that's great. But 8 times, especially, I don't know what's going on with the damage at the moment in the game, but running that encounter, that fight 8 times, it's just such a long period of time. And the only thing I think goes to the deep boss is good for now is teaching people to play their life. 100% agree. That's great. Playing your life is just one of the most important things you can do. Because, like, you can have great ad clear, you can have great damage, you can know all the mechanics, but if you're dead, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody at all. What's going on here? I hate scripted boss fights, that's all. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, when the boss fight, you know, when you deal half health or something, or a third, and it's going, oh, I'm going to teleport off to somewhere else or whatever. Yeah. -5 power light is what happened for some reason, made a huge difference solo sessions. Yeah, Dako, I reckon, like, the way they changed the delta, the power delta, I don't know, man. It's crazy. And I think as well, the compounding factor that we don't have solo operative in the artifact as well just means that we just don't have nearly as much damage as we did. And then on top of it, the surge limits as well that they implemented, where only certain weapons received the buff. Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I'm not sure that soloing a dungeon is something that I want to do at the moment in this current setup, because I quite simply have other games I want to play. I got other things in Destiny 2 that I'd rather do. I don't want to spend an hour on one boss fight just doing 5 laps or 5 phases or 6 rotations or whatever. You script fights as I play Final Fantasy 14. Those are the best fights, IMO. Yeah, alright, that's fair. Look, I mean, I've never played Final Fantasy 14, so I can't really speak to it. So, but I hear people talk great things about those raid bosses. Just the, like, mechanically heavy. You got to really stand in the right spot. You got to know your role. You got to know what's going on. That seems. Really cool.
I mean, I think the Ghost of the Deep boss is an outlier, especially like it wasn't so bad as a group, but like I think that they needed to adjust it for solo players. I don't have a problem with any boss mechanics. I have a problem with seeing the same boss mechanics repeatedly over the course of months and years, which is kind of what we're talking about with them saying we're putting in the biggest health pool of a boss ever, but we're not going to have phases for that. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, his shield's up and down. That's just different, which is welcome, right? Like, it's not about this is better or this is better or this is better. It's like we've been doing the same thing for a decade or a lot of a decade, and now we would like some variant. And I mean, I think that's what they're recognizing, and that's what it really is about to me. Like, we all have our own preferences for what style we would prefer. For me, it's just like I don't want to just do the same thing. again. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to dunk the ball every time. I dunk a lot of balls. I don't need to dunk anymore. You know, I've
DPS
proved that I
plates.
can. Yeah,
Yeah.
stand on the plate,
DPS plates, stand on the plate.
shoot your witherhoard to get your well.
Keitel week 1, mate. Keitel on Master. I don't know. Keitel on Master was crazy,
You
bro.
are
That
so
was-
much more like you're hurt from that encounter. I did that with you. I was
Bro, I had to piss like a racehorse the entire time. I was busted. I was like, hurry up. Let's get out of here. I gotta go.
and I was just like we just wouldn't die. That was the season of like we can't die.
And I'm like sitting here sweating. I'm like, it's coming out my pores. Let's get it done. What are we doing?
Yeah. It's I think it's because Dusty running invisibility maybe. I can't remember. No, it was just Dusty, but he just wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
like we had to get it done as well. And it was one of those ones. It's a really cool fight, and it really pushes you to again like play your life and know the mechanics, because if you mess up one of like the bells, if you don't get there in time, or if you can't read her moves of where she's going, it's like, well, you get like a significantly reduced damage window.
and it wasn't so bad on normal because we would just split up and everybody would go in one direction. So there was always somebody like in position for wherever she was going. But on Master, when you split up, you might be cooked. So you had to be able to read properly. Yeah, you weren't in the right spot.
That was
it was
the first time that came out. Yeah, that was great.
It was. I really enjoyed. I did enjoy that. I didn't have a problem with that one. I mean, there was some bugs in it at certain points. I think we encountered a couple, but like, nothing.
Oh
major.
yeah, that was weird. They had some strange bugs, right? Where it's like, the bells would instantly proc or something. If you went through, you'd kind of get instantly teleported back. If something died just before you were getting teleported, the bell would kill you. Yeah, lucid dream. That's right. That was weird, wasn't it? There was like,
yeah,
that was incredible.
That happened to us a few times, and we were like, "What's going on here?"
Keitel wouldn't teleport for damage. That's true. Yeah. Or you'd go in and you'd wait, and you'd be like, "Where the hell is she? What's going on?"
Yeah.
Come in and you'd wait, and you'd be like, "Where the hell is she? What's going on?" Look, I've got a mate as well that loves Arc Warlock. There's something about Arc Warlock, man. It doesn't vibe for me, man. But then again, I'm just a solo slut. Not a solo slut, a solar slut. Like, I love my solar subclass. Get me on well. My prismatic build is like 60 to 80% solar. I think it's so cool. But then again, ignitions and scorch and the healing capabilities are just so good. Make them play
I'm primarily a solar hunter, to be honest. I can't like there's times when I'll bring out like shadow shot for hunter or something like that, or maybe arc if I'm doing like some solo content and I just want to dodge shotgun punch roll, 100%. But most often I just like, and that's really changed with me over the years. Like, I did have a point in Destiny where I had to play the thing that was the best, right? And I was like very invested in figuring out what was the best, and then going out and building that and getting those weapons, getting those drops. And I don't care anymore. It's more about like, what do I want to do? What is fun for me? And like, certainly there's going to be content where I'm like, okay, like maybe I can't use my build for this one. I'm going to have to actually, tidy it up. But the bulk of my time in Destiny is playing the way that I want to play.
Yeah.
And just figuring out like what is going to be fun for me. And I think that there's a lot of folks out there that could probably use a little more of that, like a little less watching 6 YouTube videos a day and build crafting the best thing, and a little bit more of like what's just fun, especially in like lower level content. Like, just have a blast. Who cares what you're doing?
Yeah. I think it would be in terms of like what's fun as well, and this is sort of kind of different tangent there, but I think that the new Dual Destiny exotic mission, I think that was quite cool. I know there was a lot of pushback from like a vocal, I want to say vocal minority, about frustrated that it was a co-op only experience. So I don't know, maybe, people in chat, how do they find Dual Destiny? Like, was it frustrating that you had to do it co-op, or was it like such a cool, unique experience that it was like, hell yeah? Because for me, I don't know, maybe it's a bit like, is it a bit elitist? I don't think it's necessarily elitist, but like, if you got a mate who plays, just get him on and have it. But maybe some people.
I don't think
some
that
people
there's.
don't
I don't
want
think that there's necessarily a right and wrong. I think we're always trying to figure out like. It's not really. It's not really about that. It's more like, just because if somebody is like, hey, I'm not having any luck with Fireteam, and I don't have any of my friends play Destiny, so this is frustrating to me. That's fine. That's valid, right? And then someone who's like, well, I have no problem. I use Fire. I like the content. Like, that's valid. Like, I don't think Bungie has to necessarily like change something just because there's people who don't like it, or people who struggle with it. Like, I think you always try to make things accessible to as many people as possible and keep that in mind. And then, like 100% push accessibility every opportunity you get. Make it so that more people can play. Make it so that more people can do everything in the game always. But in terms of like, let's say myself, like, I don't love content that forces me to go out and find a bro. Right? It's not a big deal because I'm just like, Sam, let's go do this.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of times I'm playing Destiny by myself, and well, you're gonna need to use Fireteam thing, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's a pain in the ass. I think that's fine. That feedback doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't mean that you should like turn it off and change the mission. But it's just,
Yeah, everyone's feelings are valid when it comes to like how they enjoy the game. I think that problems arise, I guess, when people start asking Bungie to fundamentally change like a design aspect. Like, this mission was designed for 2 players. It was designed as this dichotomy of light and darkness. You're working together, you're fusing these 2 elements together to create this class item that literally has 2 unique exotic elements. So it makes thematic sense for it to be co-op. Yeah, it would be nice to solo. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could solo a raid, right? But at some point, Bungie also needs to design content that's specifically designed for 1 player, that's specifically designed for 3, and that's specifically designed for 6. And like this 2-player thing, completely new. And I would love to see them explore something like that again. However, I do hear loud and clear the issue that the exotic class item being locked behind something that that required another player. I understand how that can be frustrating, especially if you don't know anybody and you don't want to use Fireteam Fun.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because that's the thing, is like, the exotic class item is it optional? Sure. Is it optional? Not really, right? Because if you really want to like build craft, if you really want to tackle specific content, like, there's no question that it opens gameplay doors that weren't. It just does, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff becomes more necessary as content evolves and as we get. So I think the mission is really cool, but something that is so necessary for players who want to engage with like endgame content, like getting an exotic class item, I think that you're right. That portion of it, I'm not sure that I'm, crazy about that. And it's not that I'm not crazy about it. It's that I would just like to say it'd be cool if there was also another way, at least eventually. Maybe not day 1, but maybe like as time goes on, class items, like if you don't get one through that mission, like maybe someone can earn it another way. You know what I mean?
Well, but you can earn it from the random chests.
Yes, but the first time you have to do the mission.
You have to get it through the mission.
Right. That's what I'm saying is like, as time goes on, like, but that's the thing, like, we've all had the experience, or like most people have. We've played the mission, or if you have an exotic class item, you mission.
Yeah.
So I do think that like when you get like 3 down the road, like look at all the exotics that had missions and then suddenly like there's another one. It doesn't have to be that way forever, right? Like we have had the experience, whatever. But I just don't think that like 6 months from now, a person should have to like use Fire Team Finder to get their first exotic class item,
Yeah, look, I get it, but there's also a part of me where I just go, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta put on your big pants, and you gotta.
But I don't think everybody. I don't think it's always just a matter of like someone has to will through it. I think there's just some people that can't do that. And like you like it's. I'm not gonna sit here and name off the circumstances of that, but like there's certain,
I appreciate that, but also
can't get that.
I know that I'm not going to be able to go flawless in Trials of Osiris every week.
But it's different. It's different
different?
it's different because you could. Some people can't, and they're always running up against things they can't do. Right? So it's not like, oh, I can't do this, so I'm going to do these. It's like, this is just another thing I can't do. That's the frustrating part.
Yeah.
Like you not being able to do one thing, but being able to do 9 other things, no one's crying for you. You know what I mean? Because you're fine.
I don't want anyone crying. I'm not playing a little violin.
It's more about accessibility, about the fact that like because accessibility is not prioritized as much as it needs to be by any stretch of the imagination. There's just an astronomical number of things that folks that have accessibility needs can't do, and it's like we're just adding another. And I'm not like
I'm not critiquing it from like an accessibility standpoint. I'm purely in terms of like if you just don't want to play with another person, I think that in that situation,
that's fine.
You just gotta play with someone else.
No, I agree with that. If it's just a matter of you to do it, like that's fine. I don't.
If there's something actually inhibiting you from being able to do that, then I hear you loud and clear. That sucks. But if people, I think the main people were like the main pushback from the community that I saw was, I want to do it solo. I shouldn't have to get someone else in. It's like, well, you gotta get someone else in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't land as hard with it as you do.
I know, but like sometimes you just gotta draw a line in the sand, and that's.
And I kick all the sand, and you don't have.
Yeah, and I'll be like, wow, my sand, my line. All right, let's move it.
Yeah.
Activity on GM doesn't show in the in-game LFG. You have to lock with a third party to gather people. That's a good point, Troxmaker. I didn't realize that the 12-man GM didn't appear in LFG. That's wild. You have to go to a third party?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, that the 12-man activity GM level is pretty funny. Like
you Firedale, just to I agree, there's only so much that Bungie can do. What I'm saying, just specifically about the 2-player activity for the class, I don't have a problem with how it works. I really don't. I'm fine with that. What I'm saying is that I think that 6 months from now, when this moment has passed, there would be great if there was another way for people who weren't here for this moment. Maybe they didn't play Destiny yet, or they were on a long break, and they come back. This moment's gone. If there's another way for them to then get the class item instead of having to like LFG, and maybe it wouldn't be a problem. Maybe they would. Maybe it's not 6 months. Maybe it's, I don't know. But my point just being that there's lots of things in Destiny you used to have to get by doing a certain thing, and it doesn't work like that anymore. Like now there's another way to get it, or they've opened it up in the pool in some fashion. And I'm just saying that, like, ever locked behind doing this specific mission.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the Rat King quest, where, look, I did the Rat King quest in Destiny 2 back in 2017, so forgive me for not remembering the exact way that quest works, okay? But I'm fairly certain that for the Rat King quest, you have to be playing with other people who are of different class to you. As in, if you're playing a hunter, you have to play with a warlock and a titan, and they also have to either have the quest or Rat King equipped. And that, like, years from now, like, the fact that there are people specifically set themselves up to be like, hi, I'm going to help people to get Rat King. That's crazy. That's incredible. So yeah, it would be good to see, I don't care about Rat King. Like, go get it. Go have fun. It doesn't bother me how you acquired it. I acquired it back in the day. So I think a year from now, like Dual Destiny, fantastic. Awesome. A year from now, I'm not gonna care how you got your class item.
Yeah.
If you want to spend 12 hours farming chests on the Pale Heart, go at it, mate. But for me, I like Dual Destiny. I'll play that. That's fun. I don't care. Like, and if someone's like, oh yeah, no, I did the, if Bungie comes out and says, look, we're gonna give you a class item if you do this 12-step quest every week, that's available from Xur. Cool, man. Rock on. Go do that. I don't care. I might do it just to, write a guide or something about it. But your acquisition of a class item has no impact on me. I think what makes me sad though is that you might not get to experience Dual Destiny. That's what makes me sad, is that people don't get to experience the co-op form of it for whatever reason. Because I think it's so cool. And I think that Bungie does a great job at like making these new things that people who don't get to experience it, I think it's sad. I think that's sad.
You gonna be okay?
I will be okay.
Okay.
I think
No, I see what you're saying, but like, and that's why I mean, like a year from when the moment's passed, the moment's passed, right? Like,
yeah.
That's and that's fine. I mean, I see the same conversation. Folks were getting angry at one point because DLC was free. I'm like, well, I had to pay for it. Well, yeah, 3 years ago. Right? Now you're mad that someone else gets it. Like, it's the same kind of thing, right? It's like, yeah, the moment has passed. This DLC is not, worth $40 anymore. It's being used to like bring players in so that they can sell them Witch Queen, whatever it happens to be. Things change, right? Like things change. So, and that's especially true in Life and Destiny.
Look, I remember back playing Halo 2 on the original Xbox in 2004, and Bungie back then released the map pack for $5, right? You got like 3 maps for the multiplayer. 2 months later, that map pack was free and they gave it to everybody. Yeah. And I didn't care because I'm like, cool, now everybody gets it and I can keep on playing it with everybody.
Well, do you know what happens when more people can play your game?
Oh,
the game gets better.
Oh yeah, 100% gets better.
The game gets better. Like, but there's folks out there that would rather be like the only person playing a DLC. They'd be like, I bought this and it's just a wasteland with nobody else in it, because they're like, you can't come in for free. I bought this. Go stay out. And it's like, okay, I hope you're having a blast.
Yeah. In terms of like looking forward at Act 2 and maybe even Episode 2, I hope that Bungie, because is there an exotic mission coming soon?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why do I feel
probably there's always one around the corner.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, when are we getting another dungeon?
Look, typically they come out, well, they used to come out 2 seasons after the release of an expansion.
So we're probably looking at Episode 2 this year.
Yeah, like if they do a dungeon, right?
Look, man,
we don't even know if they're going to do a raid.
If you're going to talk nonsense about if they do a dungeon, we're turning this stream off. I'm not having a conversation. They better do a dungeon.
There's one in Act 3, says Cuffley. You reckon there's a dungeon in Act 3 of Echoes? I would like that.
It's really tough to keep track of everything that Bungie announces and says, because this is going to surprise folks, but so, you're on twitch.tv/Shacknews. Shacknews is a gaming website. In fact, Sam, you should throw in our guide hub in the chat. This guy over here has written thousands of guides for Destiny 2. A huge part of this man's job is Destiny 2. Like, a huge part of it. And he just linked it in the chat right there. Go look at that. He's written probably 90%, if not more than 90% of what. And the fact that someone whose literal job in a large part revolves around Destiny 2 is like, did they announce that? You know what I mean? Like, that's wild to me of how difficult it is to keep up with everything that they talk about with Destiny 2 when they announce. Is just, it's amazing. Like the amount of time we spend invested. Wait a minute, I don't think I caught that one.
Yeah, I feel like I would have caught it. I feel like for sure I would have caught it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to double check that.
Yeah, you have to, but
we definitely don't know about any raids. Like, what are they gonna do?
Wrath of the Machine, man.
Man, I hope so. I really.
You've been waiting for a long time for that, haven't you?
Man, back in the day, I only maybe cleared that once or twice before Rise of Iron was kind of over, and then I went back and did the Moments of Triumph. And I don't think I even got the challenge done on hard mode, whereby I don't know if anyone else out there in chat remembers Wrath of the Machine hard mode Atrax challenge, where you had to dunk on the panels before dunking on his back. That was a tight window. So I'd love to see them bring that to Destiny 2 and like give us the contest mode, give us the challenge run on that. That would be really tough. I know I was like contemplating hanging up my day one Raider hat, but if they do bring back Wrath of the Machine, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I would play it. I haven't played a lot of raids lately. Getting a raid team together with my friends in Australia is difficult. But I didn't love Wrath of the Machine.
Mate, what?
Didn't love
what?
It. Didn't love
what are you
it.
talking about? Why? Bro, we gotta fix that. Why didn't you love
Zamboni
it?
was cool. I don't know. Yeah.
Repairing the Zamboni was cool.
Yeah.
Like the TV screen thing where you had to slide under the doors. Obviously, they're not as mechanically in depth as the raids
I'm
now.
old school, man. I loved Vault of Glass.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was called. Callus. I don't know why. I just love the first raid. It's the first raid in Destiny 2. Callus.
In Leviathan.
Yeah, is that what it's called? It's actually called Leviathan? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was called Leviathan, wasn't it? I'm not.
Maybe, I don't know. That you know the raid. It's the first one in Destiny.
Yeah, it's called Leviathan, right?
Yeah, okay, then there it is, Leviathan.
Yeah, it was the name of the ship.
I don't know why, but like it was just like a game show. And I loved it. And then you could go in the encounters in whatever direction you wanted. And you know me, I'm like Destiny, right? Like I don't want these very difficult, like you got warlocks reading books, right? To figure out like how to get to the damage phase of the boss. Like that's not my life. I'm like, yeah, let's just run around this circle and jump through hoops. That's cool. I like that, you know? That was kind of my it was my pace.
Man, we gotta get back into Salvation's Edge and get to the Verity encounter. Holy shit, dude! That Verity encounter, that's crazy. Like that, how people figured that out on day one, that's nutty, man. Like when we get there, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? So cool. But yeah, in terms of Wrath of the Machine, I think it makes sense. I think that Bungie, it would make sense for them to bring it back in episode 2.
Well, they're out of things to bring back.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the last one, but it also makes thematic sense because episode 2 is about the Fallen. It's about Revenant. It's about, they're big on splicing. So I think it makes thematic sense to be like, hey, yo, the Fallen episode that we're doing. Yeah, what raid could we possibly, include here?
We have one left. Like
you got one left that you can remake from Destiny 1. You can't just leave that in Destiny 1. That would be.
But listen to me. I am going to giggle like for weeks if they bring back a raid. And there's no way this will happen. Don't think that I'm suggesting this will happen. I know it doesn't make sense. I get it. But if imagine they like rework Leviathan and just leave the machine out.
That would be
like, why do we have the Leviathan? Like, what are we doing? We're not doing anything with Callus.
Yeah, imagine if they brought back Leviathan
instead of Wrath of the Machine. I'd be so happy. Yeah. I would just play Leviathan all the time. I would LFG Leviathan, not play.
Yeah. Look, like it's got to be Wrath of the Machine. I hope they bring it back. Nothing on their roadmap indicates any raid, but it makes sense thematically. It makes sense on like the timeline of their usual release cadence for raids. So I think it makes sense.
Well, like we're gonna wrap up here in a minute. But and I don't want to get all businessy on the side of this, but I will say, like, very logically, Bungie needs people to play.
Yeah.
It's not a Bungie thing. It's a live service game for every live service game in the world. They need people to play. They need people to keep playing. They need people who have left to come back and play again. And that's what new content drops are about. And I don't think that their goal would be not to have a raid this year. I'm not saying there will be one. No, but I would say that like they would probably be gunning to have a raid this year because that is one more thing to keep people engaged and to keep people like invested in Destiny. Like, yeah, I mean, I fully suspect if I had to bet, if you were like, I'll bet you $100. If you wanted to bet me $100, there was no raid, I would take that bet right now.
I would never say that.
Absolutely not, because I'd be up $100 because there's going to be a raid. There's going to be a raid.
Yeah, it would have to be. You don't release like Salvation's Edge and have so many people come in and play it and be like, that's it, we're not doing raids anymore. That was good. We had fun. We are sick of having so many people view raids and play our content. No. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do think something that just occurred to me. I know Bungie, from a narrative perspective, loves the Light and Dark saga, right? Like they did an amazing job with it over the course of 10 years. I can only imagine, as much as they love doing it, like their appreciation for it, it's their baby. Imagine the freedom they feel being able to now do something different. Like as creative people who had to continue to like create inside of Dark Saga for so many years. Now it's like, what do you want to do? Oh, really? You know? Like, I'm sure there's obviously direction, and a lot of this they already have planned out. Like, you know, they have an idea of where things are going. But I think it's, you know, working on something for a decade is a long time.
A heck of a long time.
Especially being able to like switch gears and try something new. I can't wait to see what they bring next, like the stories that they tell, and that's gonna be cool. So
yeah, definitely.
Glad you got the drop, Snake. Yeah, unfortunately we can't stay live all day, but we did stay live for like an hour extra. So we did an extra hour on top of the stream. I believe we did an hour, right? It was done at about 1:30. So we are going to wrap it up right here. Sorry, we have no choice. We got to wrap it up. We gotta get to work. We got things to do. We got to pay the bills, buy the groceries. But we appreciate that everybody joined us today, and we will be doing. We continue to do Destiny content all the time over on Shacknews.com, and you will see more Destiny content coming from us on Twitch. So if you want to see more Destiny content, including in the future when they have drops, then make sure you're following us on Twitch, which you're already here. So just click the follow button. That's great. If you have a Prime sub and you want to give away some of a billionaire's money, you can send Jeff Bezos bucks over to us, and we'll not be upset whatsoever. Pleases us a great deal. So thank you very much for everybody who joined, everybody for the chat, the conversation. It was amazing. And we will be covering Destiny 2 every day. Just go over to shacknews.com. You'll see it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all having a chat. It's great to talk to you. Great to meet you. We'll see you online soon for some more games. Stay safe out there, everybody.